Suleja traders blame crippling businesses on thugs' task force activities. Gunmen raid Kwara community, abduct residents. Container crushes woman to death in Anambra. And on the foreign scene, UN chief visits Rafah border crossing, calls for aid deliveries to begin. These are the headlines on Trust TV at this hour. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for joining. Suleja town in Niger State is home to several businesses, with traders visiting the area on a daily basis for their wholesale or retail transactions. The visitors cut across the Federal Capital Territory and other neighboring states like Kogi, Nasarawa and Kaduna, in addition to other parts of Niger State. Trust TV visited the Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida market in Suleja, as well as other adjoining business locations where traders lamented how activities of thugs and task force officials are affecting them negatively.
The traders said many of their customers were no longer interested in visiting the market due to the harassment of the thugs. They either work with the council or operating illegally, as well as task force officials that operate within the area. There are also allegations against officials of the Niger State Transport Management Agency who are accused of extorting motorists or impounding vehicles of those that fail to comply with their demands.
Firstly, we have issue of importation of goods to Suleja market due to the tax force and whatsoever called revenue. If you look at it, when we go to Lagos, we go to Aba on a char, where we buy our bag, kind of market. We want a driver to take it to the Suleja. They will say no, they are not taking it to Suleja. Rather, they will take it to Zuba or Kaduna Road simply because of tax force. And anyone you are lucky to get it that is coming to Suleja, he will start charging you at high rates that you cannot afford to pay, simply because of tax force and whatsoever revenue.
If you check the line now, you can see from here to here, nobody. Those people will block the road, manipulation everywhere, collecting people money. If you buy only one single bucket and put inside your boot, they will follow you up, use their Okada, follow you up. If they catch the motor, they will hold the person, talking of 30,000, 20,000. And immediately the person pay that money, he will never come back again.
The problem we are having with them, mostly, we in the Babangida market, what we are facing from them is that even though that you go and bring your own load, coming back to Suleja, it will be problem. You will pay. You pay these people, you pay the other people, you pay the other one. They are disturbing us, not small. And because of this, many people were not coming to Suleja to buy goods again. All the people coming from Abuja before, all of them run away. Because of that, they are now going to Kubwa and other places.
Meanwhile, efforts to get the response of the chairman of Suleja Council, Ishaku Bawa, were not successful after several attempts. Also, the Director General of NITSMA, Muhammad Awal Datijo, an agency accused of assaulting motorists, had declined to speak when contacted about the issue.
On security matters, gunmen have invaded Ora Ayetoro community in Ekiti local government area of Kwara State and abducted some residents. Sources say that the incident happened on Monday when about 9 gunmen, 4 of them wearing masks, stormed the area wielding AK-47 rifles. The abductors were said to have also invaded the palace of the traditional ruler in the community, destroyed his residence and also burgled the shop of his wife, cutting away some items and cash. Chairman of the local government, Kayode Bayode, confirmed the incident to Daily Trust. According to him, the local vigilante have been empowered and are working with the police and other security agencies to rescue the victims. Now, an unidentified woman has been crushed to death by a container falling from a trailer at the Eze Iweka area near Upper Iweka bus stop along the Onitsha-Owerri road. According to eyewitnesses, the incident occurred on Thursday when goods were being offloaded from the truck parked by the roadside. The container fell and crashed on the woman standing by the roadside. The acting sector public education officer of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Margaret Onabe, who confirmed the incident, said that it happened at about 3 p.m. The FRSC rescue team from Upper Iweka Outpost, Anambra State, rushed to the accident scene along with the Awada police team, making efforts to get a crane to lift the 40-feet container where the road traffic crash victim was trapped. Amnesty International has said that a total of 15 protesters arrested in the 2020 in still being detained 3 years after the #EndSARS protest. A statement by the non-governmental organization marking the 3rd anniversary of the protest said the majority of the protesters are in correctional centers in Lagos without trial. It notes that the Nigerian authorities have filed charges including theft, arson, possession of unlawful firearms, and murder against many of the protesters, alleging that some of those detained had been subjected to torture. The organization said in the past year alone, it has documented the unlawful killing of at least 6 people by law enforcement officers. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, will deploy 46,084 regular and ad hoc staff for the off-circle governorship election coming up in November in Imo, Bayelsa, and Kogi states. Chairman of the Commission, Mahmoud Yakubu, made this known in his remarks at a meeting with resident electoral commissioners held at the INEC conference room, Abuja, on Friday. According to him, the 3 elections will involve 5,409,438 registered voters that will vote in 10,510 polling units spread across 649 electoral wards in 56 local government areas. He added that so far, all non-sensitive materials for the election have been delivered to the 3 states. Mahmoud said INEC has so far accredited 126 national and international organizations, collectively deploying 11,000 observers for the election, which is 3 weeks away from now. Now, the Supreme Court has fixed Monday, October 23rd for hearing in the appeal by the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, seeking the nullification of President Bola Tinubu's victory at the presidential election. The Apex Court will on the same day hear the motion by Atiku seeking to bring fresh evidence to prove that President Bola Tinubu submitted forged certificate to the Independent National Electoral Commission. In a hearing notice, the Apex Court fixed 9 a.m. of the date for Atiku's lawyers and those of President Tinubu to address its panel of 7 justices on whether it has powers to grant the request. Also billed to address the court on the contentious request are lawyers from the All Progressives Congress and the Independent National Electoral Commission, who are joint respondents in the motion. The Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA, has commenced a post-development audit beginning with satellite towns in Abuja. Trust TV's Abdurrahman Umar reports that the audit will also mark the recommencement of the issuing of building plan approvals in Abuja satellite towns. The report.
Abuja, Nigeria's capital, was built to serve as the country's capital under the Abuja Master Plan. Certain buildings in the city are not meant to be, as they do not fit into the plan, and as such will distort the city's original plan. This, according to Town Planner Mukhtar Galadima, the Director Department of Development Control in the Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA, gave rise to the post-development audit of satellite towns in Abuja.
Starting from the satellite towns, how many structures do we have? What type of structures do we have? How are they connected to the city or services? So that we can have a database that we can say, yes, the capital city is made of this, and it has these facilities and services.
He says there might be room for review of the approvals issued to some structures within the recent.
Implementation of plans, normally there are rooms for review. So if the deviation is not something fundamental, it's something that can be condoned, we say, okay, you have done this, but not in our line, but it can be condoned. So we are going to charge you ABC for this deviation. But if something that we cannot condone, it has to be removed, we'll remove it.
For many across the country who associated the effort of FCTA in maintaining Abuja Master Plan with abuse of human rights, Mukhtar says that is to the contrary.
I think there are two variables, two independent variables. You have the city's master plan, which is also a law on itself and regulations, and then you have the issue of discipline. So you see, for us to get a city of our dream, a city that everybody desires, we need to have a disciplined society. So if you are not disciplined, which means the law is supposed to take its course on you.
Sylvester Nicholas is an Abuja resident who says Abuja is not like other states in the country, and as such, people must conform to the rules and regulations for residing in the city.
With due respect, I will urge people that have built should come so that if there's a way to redirect them how to build before anything collapsing, it will be better.
Mukhtar says to get the capital city of our dreams, Nigerians must be disciplined.
People talk about Kigali, people talk about Joburg. No, what makes them different? Look at Dubai. What is all about Dubai? It's because the people are disciplined. They follow laws, they follow regulations. So long as we're not going to follow laws and regulations, we can't get that city that we want.
The owners of properties in satellite towns in Abuja are expected to, within the next 21 days, submit the requisite information for necessary action. Abdurrahman Umar, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Parents have been called upon to protect the boy child by ensuring their proper upbringing. They have also been enjoined to extend the same attention and care given to the girl child to boys to ensure that they are protected from ills that may derail them from their path to becoming responsible citizens. The call was made at the physical summit of the Boy Child campaign organized by the women community in Africa. Zainab Karai tells us more.
The clamor for protecting the boy child stems from the fact that much attention is given to the girl child, not only from parents, but from government and civil society groups. Advocates of boy-child protection say the same attention should also be given to the boys to ensure that they too are protected.
So empowering the girl child has received more emphasis than that of the boy child over the years. This has led to the neglect of the boy child, while the focus on gender equality has predominantly centered on empowering the girl child. It is equally important to recognize challenges and needs that the boys face in their development. In order to foster a balanced and equitable society, we need to empower the boy child along the girl child. This will help to create a balanced social structure.
What we're really saying is that we want to help our children, our boys, our girls, to manage that emotional center of the brain. So that when things happen, they're able to process the emotion. So that they're not in that stress, that fight or freeze mode. They're able to process it and reactivate their thinking brain so that they do what they know is the right thing to do.
A cross-section of Nigerians, one government and well-meaning individuals should carry the boy child along in its policies to make them contribute more to the development of the society.
The underlying cause of all this is that we have not armed our young people with the proper character and values to both challenge the ills as well as serve as a counter to those whose minds have been poisoned with negative values. The family, both extended and neutral, being the first unit of social interaction that any individual has with society, plays a most crucial role in all this.
Others believe that protecting the boy child will translate to better protection for the girl child.
Child abuse can have profound and lasting effects on a boy's social behavior, which will include low self-esteem, aggression, social withdrawal, and mental health imbalance.
Stakeholders want government at all levels to extend the privileges enjoyed by the girl child to the boy child to make them more efficient to the country. Zainab Garai, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching the news update on Trust TV. Coming up, we'll take a look at growing concern over rampant open defecation practice in Oyo State. Details and more after the break.
That's great. It's good to see you.
There's a problem in Nigeria. Rising unemployment is leading to crime, death, and homelessness.
I graduated since 2020. There's no work, there's nothing.
With no jobs, no money, and no food, many young people are frustrated.
There are many young youths out there looking for what to do. But when it comes to Nigeria, you will see old people doing the work that young people should do.
My own local government is safe. We don't have anybody in this community that is working there.
Lost and forgotten in slums, the echoes of their worries haunt the seat of power. Where is their government?
This village is like we are inside the city, and our boys are running up and down, no work.
What is the truth behind Nigeria's unemployment statistic? Beyond the affluence of Abuja's wealthy 1% lies the grief of the 99% struggling to earn a living.
Welcome back. You're watching the news update on Trust TV. Let's take a look at the top stories again. Suleja traders blame crippling businesses on thugs, task force activities. Gunmen raid Kwara community, abduct residents. In other news, in a bid to develop Nigeria's educational sector towards meeting global best practices, the Chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Tertiary Education, Abubakar Fulata, says that the nation must declare a state of emergency in education. Fulata has also called on the federal government to commit at least 25 to 30% of the national budget to education. He stated this on the sidelines of a stakeholders meeting on the development of a roadmap for the Nigerian education system. Habibat Ajayi reports.
The Ministry of Education set up a 7-man committee to look into the roadmap of the sector for 2024-2027. The committee was set up to look into various challenges faced at different levels in the sector. However, stakeholders lamented the ill treatment of teachers in the country and called for salary increments for primary, secondary and university teachers.
25 to 30% of the national budget to education. And then teachers must be not only be honored, they must also be encouraged. No primary school teacher in Nigeria should earn anything less than 250,000 naira per month.
The Minister of Education, Tahir Maman, lamented that the ministry has great policies on papers that do not meet the needs of the people.
Basic education is their terrain. Secondary school is essentially their terrain. Federal government has only 112 unity colleges, but because of problems at that sector, we are where we are today. But the federal government is partnering with them. All that we are asking for is for them to do their own part.
Anybody who has been in education for the last 2-3 decades will know that. During our days, we've been beneficiary of the education system, and we know it. We know how it was. We know where it is now. And if something very serious is not done, we have a pretty good idea of where we're heading.
The inability of youth to gain employment after going through the rigors of academics may be responsible for a gradual disinterest in the pursuit of education. Habibat Ajayi, Trust TV News, Abuja.
There is a rising concern over rampant open defecation practice in Oyo State, as National Bureau of Statistics said 54% of the population of the state engage in the act. Recent reports indicate that Nigeria has overtaken India to become the #1 country in the world in terms of open defecation practice. Hamid Oegbade reports.
Experts expressed worry that the projection to end open defecation in Nigeria by 2025 might not be realistic, given the current pace in the efforts to eliminate the practice. In the southwest, Oyo State is leading in open defecation practice, with 54% of its 8 million population engaging in the act. Ekiti State is the second in the region, with 41% of the population of the state engaging in open defecation, followed by Ondo, 39%, Osun, 18%, Ogun is 14%, while Lagos State is 3%. In Ibadan, capital of Oyo State, the people of Jago community in Onara local government area of the state said open defecation exposed them to illnesses and many security risks.
We go along with our cutlass. That means the person that knows deeply about the shit, you will dig the ground, shit there, and put the sand on it.
That they fell inside the well. So those are one of the hazards. Snake bites is one of it.
Meanwhile, with intensive sensitization against the negative consequences of open defecation, many households in Jago community have constructed and begun to use toilets.
When we were going to the bush to defecate because we did not have toilets, we were always going to hospitals because of sicknesses. Now that we have toilets, we no longer perceive odor or feces. Even in the night, we can easily use the toilet. We go into the bush to defecate. We eventually realized that it was not good, and we have built our toilets that we are using now.
Among the 36 states in Nigeria, only Jigawa State has been certified open defecation free in the country. A water, sanitation and hygiene specialist with the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, Monday Johnson, charged all state governors across the country to intensify efforts towards ending open defecation practice by 2025.
The aim of the federal government setting this date was for all the state governments to key into that date and start the program in all the states, aiming at achieving that goal. As you can see, as of today, we have only one state that have been able to meet up that target, which is Jigawa State.
Experts said if the implementation efforts to eliminate open defecation in Nigeria continues with the current pace, it might take up to 2046 to end open defecation in Nigeria. Hamid Oyegbade, Trust TV News.
Kano State Governor Abba Kabir, in company of Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso, on Friday bid farewell to the first batch of 150 out of 1,001 students who departed Kano for India to pursue postgraduate studies. Addressing the beneficiaries, Governor Abba Kabir urged them to protect the interest of Kano State government and that of their parents by concentrating on their studies to justify the huge financial commitments made for the scheme. A statement signed by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor said that Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso tasked the departing students to be good ambassadors of Kano, Nigeria, and the Kwankwasia movement. Now, on the foreign scene, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres visited the Egyptian site of the Rafah border crossing with Gaza on Friday to oversee preparations for the delivery of desperately needed international aid to the war-torn enclave. Guterres' visit came after Israel said it will evacuate more than 20,000 residents from Kiryat Shimona, on one of the biggest towns on its northern border with Lebanon, following a heavy cross-border exchange of fire in the area the day before. Cargo planes and trucks have been bringing food, medicine and other aid to the Rafah crossing with Egypt, but to date no aid deliveries have started. Guterres has called for conditions to be met in order for deliveries to begin entering Gaza. The UN and humanitarian organizations say that food, drinking water and medical supplies are desperately needed in Gaza. And in sports, Newcastle midfielder Sandro Tonali has endured a difficult couple of weeks but could play against Crystal Palace on Saturday, says manager Eddie Howe. Tonali is being investigated by the Italian Prosecutor's Office and the Italian Football Federation in relation to alleged illegal betting activity, while Aston Villa say that Nicolo Zaniolo, also involved in the investigation, is available to face West Ham on Sunday. And that's a wrap on the news update. Watch more via all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube live stream. I am Ayuba Ila. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.